Welcome back, Pokemon trainers. Professor Chaz here. The lab coat's on back order, and it's time for another one of our weekly Pokemon TCG live online matches, video number 76 in the series. And it's coming a day later than I usually like to get it up. I like to put these up on Wednesdays, but the reason that it is a day late is actually kind of a good thing this time. I did a lot of viewer battles in Pokemon Sun and Moon over the Wi-Fi on the weekend, and I'm sort of uploading them in a staggered, sort of a really loose, random upload schedule. So we had one of those yesterday. I got this video for today. We're going to have another one of the Sun and Moon Wi-Fi battles, the last one coming up tomorrow, and then we'll get back to our Pokemon Yellow randomized Nuzlocke on the weekend. But with that, we are going to check out a new deck here this week, and this is kind of leading into, hopefully on Sunday, I want to see if I can do some viewer battles in Pokemon TCG Online with you folks out there, showing off some of the decks that I put together and giving you guys a chance to shine with your decks on the channel. I'm not sure which decks I'm going to use. I might not assemble a new one just yet, but I'll probably use one of my favorite ones, like, I don't know, I'm kind of fond of Mega Stinger over here with Mega Beedrill. But anyway, we'll see what happens. And, I usually like to try to record viewer stuff on Saturdays, but I am going to be busy this Saturday with another Pokemon League event at Heroes Beacon, so I don't have time on Saturday, but hopefully on Sunday I can get some viewer battles with you folks in Pokemon TCG Online. Now then, let's check out the deck for this week, which I'm calling Psychic Flash, because we are continuing checking out the Pokémon-GX of the almost outdated, not really, Sun and Moon expansion, because of course, what is it, May 5th, I believe, is when the new expansion of Guardians Rising comes out. So I gotta get a move on and check out the rest of these Pokemon GX. I'm kind of behind the times. But it's called Psychic Flash because one of the main features is going to be Espeon-GX, your 200 HP Psychic type, of course, evolving from Eevee. For a single Psychic, Psybeam can do 30 and confuse the opponent. Psychic for 1 Psychic and 2 Colorless does 60 plus 30 more for each energy attached to the opponent's active Pokemon. And then Divide GX. For a Psychic and 2 Colorless, Divide GX says to put 10 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon however you like. Now, sometimes people get a little bit confused and hung up on the whole doing damage versus placing damage counters. Anything that says preventing damage done does not block things like Divide GX. Think of it like, whenever you're doing an attack, I choose to, say, do Psychic, figure out the math, 60 plus, say 30 more, for example. You're doing 90 damage. Following the doing damage is when you place the 9 damage counters. Anything that reduces damage done would affect that. Anything that prevents damage done would affect that. Anything that increases, like Muscle Band, would also affect that. But something like Divide GX, you're ignoring the entire doing damage part. You're skipping right to placing damage counters. So anything that affects damage being done does not apply to Divide GX. As I said, also stuff that prevents damage being done or reduces it. So, in most situations, you're going to be doing nothing but placing damage counters. Now, that is considered an effect of an attack. So if something... What's a good example here? There's something that... a Bent Spoon Pokemon tool that can be attached. It says, prevent all effects of attacks done to this Pokemon. The placing of damage counters from Divide GX is considered an effect. So that would prevent, or the Bent Spoon would prevent Divide GX. But all that random rambling aside, it is pretty decent. You put 10 damage counters, essentially doing 100 damage, although I just said it's not doing damage, to the opposing side. So I've got 2 Espeon-GX in the deck. I've got 3 of the basic Eevee from Sun and Moon with the Energy Evolution ability. Nice little thing that kind of breaks the game as well. When you attach a basic energy card from your hand to this Pokemon during your turn, you may search your deck for a card that evolves from this Pokemon at the same time as the energy card you put on this Pokemon to evolve it, then shuffle your deck. Essentially, this ignores things like you can only evolve a Pokemon after 1 full turn in play. Energy Evolution allows you to attach a Psychic and find the Espeon-GX and evolve right away. Or any of the other evolutions as well. And for a pretty painful attack, you can do Quick Draw, which says to flip a coin, and if heads, draw a card. It's really not the best attack, so we're going to see Eevee here just to evolve up. And I've got 3 of those in the deck. The reason it's called Psychic Flash is because I could easily make use of Divide GX. You only get to use that once per game, of course, but I want to try to make use of Psychic. So this does more damage based on how much energy the opposing Pokemon in the active spot has. I'm throwing a few of these Slowking in from Breakpoint. The Royal Flash ability says, once during your turn before your attack, you may flip a coin, so 50-50 chance is going to happen. If heads, move an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon to one of their bench Pokemon. So the idea here, if I can get all of my Slowking in play, all 3 of them, or even 2 gives me almost a guaranteed one-time chance for this, you would be able to move energy from the active Pokemon. Just try to bundle it all up on a single bench Pokemon, and as you'll see just down below here, I've got 3 Lysandre. So if I can bring that active Pokemon, or bring that bench Pokemon with all the energy active, Espeon-GX's Psychic is going to do a much more bit of power to it, possibly getting a knockout, draining away all that energy from the opposing side. So we'll see how well that works out. It works out pretty decent in training, but versus the computer, they don't have a lot of energy acceleration options, whereas a human player will. So I'm hoping they get a lot of energy out. The only downside, I have to try to maneuver a certain Pokemon to the active spot on the opposing side to be able to move energy from it to a benched Pokemon. But I've got some ideas for how to make that work. So I got 3 Slowking, I got 4 Slowpoke. These ones I like because of the tail lure. For just 2 energy, 2 colorless energy, search your deck for a Pokemon, any one you want, reveal it and put it into your hand. Of course, the other one here from the Generations expansion says for 2 Psychic, you can scavenge. Discard a Psychic energy attached to this Pokemon, and if you do, put an item card from your discard pile into your hand. So there's very kind of minimal ways right now to get the item cards back from the discard pile. Supporters, of course, you can use the Versus Seeker. Energy, you can use your Special Charge, you can use Energy Retrieval, Super Rod, but this is a way to get some items back at the cost of losing a Psychic energy and using your attack for the turn. Now, since that would have only been 12 Pokemon, I threw 3 of my usual standbys of Unknown in the deck. Kind of helps your draw support. With Farewell Letter ability, you can search your deck. Nope, what am I saying? You can discard it from your bench to draw 1 card from the top of your deck. Of course, this doesn't count as a knockout for the opposing side. Kind of helps you with speeding through the deck a little bit and just have some more basics if need be, because I would have only had 7. That's a good chance for a mulligan. That being said, let's see how many mulligans I actually get this week. Anyway, that's 15 Pokemon. Scrolling down to the energy cards, I've got 6 basic Psychic. I threw 1 basic Water in there just in case the Slowking does need to do any damage. It can use Psych up for 40, then on the next turn it does 40 more. But, like I said, chances are it's only there for the ability. This could also be used to cover the retreat cost of an Espeon-GX if necessary. But mainly I've got 3 double colorless, because that's going to power up the Slowpoke's Tail Lure, it's going to power up the 2 colorless requirements for Divide GX or Psychic for the Espeon, and that's about that. So let's go to the trainer cards there, that's the 10 energy for the deck. I've got 2 de-evolution sprays. The idea here is I have 4 Slowpoke in play, and I have 4 Slowpoke and 3 of them are evolved into Slowking, and I try the Psychic Flash. What is it called? Royal Flash, that's it. If I try that and I don't get enough of them used, I can de-evolve one of the Slowking, evolve the other Slowpoke that was in play, and then that Slowking has a chance to use its Royal Flash again as well. But this also comes in handy. I've had times when the computer opponent paralyzes my Espeon-GX, at which point I can de-evolve it into Eevee, and it's no longer paralyzed, and I can then retreat it to the other Espeon-GX. So this could come in pretty handy, this whole de-evolution spray idea. I've got 2 of those in the deck. I've got 3 dive balls to find any water Pokemon, mainly, of course, looking for the Slowking. 2 energy retrievals, because there's retreat cost ideas here. There's also the scavenge, losing Psychic energy to get items back, so I can get some energy back using the energy retrieval. I did have a couple repels in here, which basically forces the opponent to switch Pokemon, but they choose the benched one. I thought, just to maneuver my Pokemon a little bit more, because we have some kind of hefty retreat cost in some of these, I threw escape ropes in instead. Both players switch their active Pokemon with one of their benched Pokemon, and the opponent switches first. If I switch into something with a low retreat cost, or as you'll see later, I have float stones in the deck, I can retreat for free using the float zones. Now I got 2 level balls to find any Pokemon of 90 HP or less, 2 Professor's Letters to find 2 basic energy out of the deck that I need, 2 random receivers to help me draw my supporters out quicker. Hopefully I'm going to use those to find some of these Lysandre if I'm ready to move the energy to the a bench Pokemon on the opposing side, but any other supporter could come in handy, of course. 2 Super Rods, shuffling back 3 cards, either basic energy or Pokemon, any combination of which. I've got 3 Versus Seekers. I normally only put 2 in here, but I want to have as many options for new hand, draw support, as well as bringing back the Lysandres that I'm going to need. So I got 3 Versus Seekers this week, and just in case the Slowking does find itself active and I have it's evolved from the Psychic type, I've got the Shrine of Memories. Basically, I needed to throw some stadiums in just to knock out the opposing stadiums. I didn't know really what would benefit this deck, so I thought, let's just go with the Shrine of Memories. If the Psychic-type Slowpoke evolved into Slowking becomes active, for 2 Psychic energy, that Slowking can use the Scavenge attack and bring back an item card, which could come in handy. So I've got 2 of those stadiums. I've got 1 Bridget, starting with the supporters here. Search your deck for any 3 basic Pokemon, non-EX, and put them onto your bench. Quite often I find myself using her to get those 3 unknown on the bench, and then I'm drawing 3 new cards by using Farewell Letter. I've got Alima here for some draw support. Both players shuffle their hand in the deck and draw back, well, they flip a coin. On a heads, you draw back 6. On a tails, you draw back 3. Got Judge in here for, again, the same kind of idea. Both players shuffle their hand in and each draws 4 back. So when I use these supporters, a lot of times I could double up or triple up on some of these. I'm sort of a gimmicky kind of a player, and I like the chance of, or the random chance, what supporter do I happen to have available, and is it going to help me, or maybe is it going to hinder me? But I like having different variations available. Of course, to make this more consistent, you could replace one of these Judges, or even Judge and Lima, replace them with 2 other Ns, for example. But it's all up to you if you want to try to recreate this. And I've got 3 Lysandre, as I said, forcing one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot, which, after I have Royal Flashed a bunch of energy onto a benched one, could bring it up and take some serious damage from Espeon-GX's Psychic. I've also got an N, I should say. Each player shuffling their hand into the deck and drawing back a card for each prize card remaining on their side. 1 Pokemon Center Lady for healing purposes. I've got Professor Birch to shuffle my hand in and flip the coin. If heads, I draw 4. Nope, if heads, I draw 7. If tails, I draw 4. 2 Skylas in here also to help find any trainer card you like from your deck and put it into your hand. The last cards are going to be 2 Float Stones. Attach them to a Pokemon and they have no retreat cost. So that is going to be the deck for this week, featuring Espeon-GX's Psychic attack and using the Royal Flash of Slowking to try to help out and add more power. We've got 15 Pokemon, 35 trainer cards, and only 10 energy cards. Let us now jump into some matches and see how well Espeon-GX does in this week's Pokemon TCG Live Online match. Alright, the Psychic Flash deck is going up against Afro Chemo, also with a Psychic deck, which could be interesting. Lots of times Psychic Pokemon are weak to Psychic Pokemon, including my own Espeon-GX, so not sure how this one's going to play out. Let's see who gets the coin flip. Alright, so Afro Chemo is getting the coin flip. Who's going to take the first turn? We lose the coin flip. It looks like they're taking the first turn. Now, do we get a mulligan this week? Basic Pokemon in the deck. 1/6 of my entire deck is basic Pokemon. Mulligan. Welcome to the Professor Chaz channel. If you haven't been watching the past several episodes of Pokemon TCG Live Online matches, you don't know the routine we have here. We mulligan twice in a row. Do we go for a 3rd mulligan? Can we break the record of 17? Not quite yet. We do have an unknown. Every time I say there's a record of 17, bear in mind that's not actually true. I just throw a random number out there. Whenever I'm choosing a random number, this is just a side tangent, but I find 17 to be kind of a funny number to say. Or even 72, because it sounds like 17, because it's got the most syllables of the first, say, like 20 numbers or whatever. So we see Alakazam-EX. All I have is an unknown to fight it with. But I do have, of course, Bridget there on my bench, in my hand. We might be out of our league here. So, of course, when Alakazam-EX Mega Evolves into the Mega Alakazam-EX, you get to put damage counters on... I forget how it works. We're going to find out, I'm sure, though. Anyway, let's play the Bridget. We'll get some Pokemon out. We'll grab an Eevee. We'll grab a... Let's grab this Slowpoke. Kind of scared that this one's weak to Psychic. And we'll grab an Unknown. So, question is... do I want to retreat this Unknown? Because I could. I would rather try to get our Espeon-GX. Now, I do have one in hand, but this is going to help speed through the deck a little bit by searching the deck for an Espeon-GX. Evolving up. There we go. So if I can get a double colorless, this will be pretty good. I'm going to, first of all, play the Professor's Letter, get a couple basic energy out, because I want to use the Farewell Letter of Unknown, but by taking 2 basic energy out immediately, that is 2 less basic energy I need to worry about drawing when I use Farewell Letter. So we're going to discard this shiny Unknown, grab ourselves a Slowking, which might be handy. That's all we're going to do for now. I'm going to let that active Unknown probably take a hit. Now, how do you work again? Put 3 damage counters on each of your opponent's Pokemon that has any energy attached to it. So I'm going to take 3 damage on Espeon-GX. So, my next play... oh, wait a minute. They're going to try to use the Creep Show on me. I see. So they're going to be able to put 3 damage on Espeon-GX. If they get the, not to say Haunter, if they get the Gengar with 2 energy attached to it, they can knock out anything on my side with 3 damage counters or more. Interesting. Of course, I could also have Mega Alakazam-EX, which does, I forget, damage based on how many damage counters are on the Pokemon already. We're going to see in just a second here. Hoopa EX is played. Find 3 more Pokemon EX from the deck other than Hoopa EX. One of them is going to be the Mega Alakazam, I'm willing to bet. And if we see it, no, just basic Alakazam EXs. Okay, so that's the idea. They're going to use the Haunter, or the Gengar, to try to knock out anything that has 3 damage. It is going to require 2 energy attached to the Haunter, I keep saying Haunter, to the Gengar, though. So we have a chance to do something. Well, hang on, let's see here. 30 more damage for each damage counter on the Pokemon. And, okay, so, it's this thing that has the ability. I can do 20 damage, or 2 damage to the active and 3 to a benched. So they end their turn with that. We're going to play Slowpoke here. We're going to evolve into Slowking. I'm going to try the Psychic Flash, or I keep saying Psychic Flash, the Royal Flash. It does fail, of course. I'm going to now play Professor Birch. Come on, give me a double colorless, buddy. There's a Tails. I was hoping for a Float Stone as well. Well, let's speed things up a little bit. We will... I'm going to retreat the Unknown. I'll play the Dive Ball, grab another Slowpoke. I guess there's no more Water Slowpoke in there. Was there any? There was one. Alright. I'm going to play this Dive Ball. I'm going to dry out the other Slowking. Get those into hand right now so that they are out of the deck as I retreat the Unknown. Zen Force is going to hurt my Psychic weakness, so we're going to bring up the Eevee. We're now going to Farewell Letter, saving us from getting a knockout on that Unknown, as we find ourselves Pokemon Center Lady, which will help our Espeon. Alright, but we need to get a new hand of cards. What we need is a double colorless. This thing can do 30 to our Eevee. They're going to play Sycamore, discard their hand, and draw 7 new cards. That's something I didn't put in the deck this week, but I figured with enough different draw support like Birch and Alima, and Judge, I should be able to get a decent amount of cards, kind of shuffling back through, not losing anything along the way as well. Now, if I can get these Psychic Flashes to work, I'm going to move everything to the Hoopa. This thing's not likely to ever come up and seed battle, you know? So we're going to see Gengar evolve from that Haunter with that Evo Soda. Of course, that is going to be the tactic, and a very cool tactic at that. By evolving your Alakazam-EXs, you're going to be able to get some damage on anything. Start powering up for such things as, well, the Creepshell. Anything else from... There we go. There's the simple... It only has 10. Never mind. Alright, we're going to evolve into Slowking. We're going to try a couple of Psychic Flashes. I keep saying Psychic Flash. We're going to try Royal Flashes. I've been getting nothing but tails so far. The game owes me a bunch of heads right now. It also owes me to not lock up. I know you're a Slowking, but could you speed things up a little bit, please? Oh, we gotta move some energy around. We can't have these Alakazam, these Mega Alakazam, doing what they're doing to us. I'm not sure what's happening. Could be my internet's not really working that well. I don't know. Anyway, the Alakazam here, Mega Alakazam, can do 40 to us next turn, which is not enough to beat the Eevee. I've got 13 seconds remaining. I can't click anything. The game's really going to time me out, is it? Unfortunately, this video cannot be used. Actually, it looks like it just saved itself. Anywho. Yeah, we're just going to end the turn there. I was about to scrap the video, but somehow, after the 15-second delay, it allowed me to continue, so I'll go with that. Once they Zen Force me, like I said, they can do 40 more to us. I can just heal all that off with Pokemon Center Lady. Their best bet might be to retreat this thing at some point. And they're going to Sycamore again. Alright, do we see any more Mega Evolution? Do they have Spirit Links is the question, though. They didn't have it for the first one. I wouldn't mind a Sycamore of my own. Of course, I didn't include one this week, but a whole new hand of cards would be pretty handy right about now. We see another Mega Alakazam. Oh, so they're going to be able to get the knockout now. Okay. I see. So damaging my bench Slowking. No! Wait, that does end their turn. I forgot. So let's just try the Psychic Flashes first of all. Again, I said Psychic Flash. I don't care anymore. It's the Flash. Moving up to the Hoopa. Let's try this one. Moving up to the Hoopa. Alright, so we're not doing so bad right now. It is kind of working in our favor. This can do 100 to any of my Pokemon. That's actually kind of bad. I probably shouldn't have been moving the energy to that. I'm going to heal the Espeon-GX. If all I could get is a Float Stone, I could retreat for free and do some serious damage. Well, I need Lysandre, too, to bring up that Hoopa. So we see another Gengar, of course. This is an interesting matchup. I'm trying to rack my brain around how to make this work. You can keep attaching to that thing. There's the retreat. Alright, we're going to see some damage coming out now. Discard 2 energy attached to it. Does 100. Their smartest thing would be to not hit my Eevee. In fact, the smartest thing would be to take out one of these two Slowking. And there's one of the Slowking. Okay, so this would do... Actually, what is this weak to? Psychic or Dark? It's weak to Psychic. Some energy retrieval, at least. We can bring one back. Now, it takes 2 retreat costs for the Eevee, unfortunately. However, I forgot we have another Espeon-GX here. Let's do that, because we can do some damage with Psybeam, at least. Or, we can retreat now. Espeon-GX only has a 1 retreat cost. Look at me knowing what I'm doing. There we go. Alright, let's go for a... Psychic would do 90, times 2 to weakness. Goodbye, Hoopa EX. I'll grab my 2 prizes, thanks. What do we find? Got a Lysandre and Sapro. Alright. So we're not doing terribly bad. What do we see next? If they can somehow Spirit Link and Mega Evolve their last Alakazam-EX and give an energy to the Gengar, that's gonna hurt. But the idea is, okay, as long as we don't take 3 damage on our Espeon-GX, we'll be okay. We can move the Gengar's energy to one of the benched Alakazam. We can Lysandre it up. We can do 180, which... How much do the Megas have? 210. Not quite a knockout, but we can knock out the benched EX at least, preventing more damage being done by Mega Evolution as well. So, what do we see here? Of course, the Gengar does have free retreat, which is pretty handy. If I had a Float Stone right now, that would be awesome, because I could move energy. Well, I can only move 1 energy with only 1 Slowking anyway. So I can do 60 plus 60 more with 2 energy attached, so it'll be 120. I can't one-shot any of these Gengar just yet. We're going to see retreat because we have a Poison Barb on that Gengar on the bench now. Super Rod shuffling back in. I'm going to shuffle the Hoopa back in? No, just 3 energy. Alright, that's fair enough. And Lily. Excellent use of the Lily card. Get rid of all the cards in your hand as much as possible, and then play her for max draw support. She lets you draw till you have 6 cards in hand. And he played his hand down to just a single card, drawing 5 fresh cards up, getting a Versus Seeker. Who have you used for supporters thus far? We got Sycamore, Delinquent, Shauna, and that's it. Oh, Lily right there, too. Now you can Sinister Fog, of course, which I would rather you didn't, but you're going to. Alright, so I am poisoned and 10 damage on everything on my bench. Okay, then. Now, what can I shuffle back in? I got some options. I'm gonna... Do I really need those right now? I was thinking of shuffling back in the Unknown. I'm gonna leave things as they are for the time being. Let us move an energy, hopefully. No. What has the highest retreat cost? You do right there. We're going to bring you up anyway. Probably the best move. And we're just going to go ahead and... Psychic will do 120. Which is good. Now, if I had Float Stone, I could just do a Escape Rope and Free Retreat kind of a thing. I need a new hand of cards. Seriously, give me... Well, not a Sycamore. I don't have Sycamore, but give me N. I would take N at this point. As we see, Versus Seeker being played to find... Your guess is as good as mine at this point. Shauna. Alright, they want to get themselves a new hand of cards. That would be pretty nice for me right about now, but we're not going to get that, of course. But they do need to attach 2 energy to be able to retreat or attack with Alakazam-EX at least. So, of course, the scary thing is, any of these Gengar can get the knockout on their next turn once they get that energy attached, which they do. But they can't knock me out just yet, because I don't have 3 damage counters on me. There is that Shauna being played. 5 fresh cards for my opponent. They got 15 left in the deck. I've got 31. I'm actually not doing too bad. Sometimes I get really close to decking myself out with some of the strategies I come up with, but I'm still halfway through the deck. You're gonna switch area. Not bad, not bad. I wonder if it's time for the Divide GX. What do you think? Because I can take this thing out with 5 damage counters. Random receiver. Hand it over. N. Very nice. So first of all, let us try the Psychic Flash. I do get it. We're going to move this energy onto the benched Alakazam-EX because it is about to faint. Alright, I'm going to play the Super Rod right now. I'm going to shuffle back in 2 of the Unknown, and I'm going to bring back one of the Slowpoke. Those will shuffle back in. Alright. Of course, I could Escape Rope. I'm going to Escape Rope, taking a chance. I'm going to Escape Rope into the Espeon-GX. That's kind of crazy. I'm not sure why I'm doing it, but I am doing it. The other Gengar comes up. Alright, fair enough. We're now going to play the N. Let's get 4 new cards. There's a Float Stone. Excellent. I was hoping for that or a energy to retreat. We'll attach this to the Espeon-GX. We will retreat into the other one. We will lose it, of course, but we can get some energy, which we might be able to if we use the Unknown, which is why I shuffled them back in. More draw support. So let's discard you, Farewell Letter. Give me something useful. Energy. I'm going to play that right there. And now let's just go with the Divide GX. We'll put 5 damage on... No, 4 damage on this thing here. So that is a knockout right there. And we have 6 more damage counters to work with. I'm going to put them... Should I go 3 and 3 because I can do 180. No, let's see if they have an energy attached. I'm going to try risky again. I'm going to put 3 damage counters on each of the EXs. So I'm getting ourselves 2 prizes for that. Give me a double colorless and a Lysandre. There's a Judge. Not really that good. So they are going to get the Creepshow knockout here. Next best bet, I'm going to bring the Slowking up. Because I can throw the Float Stone onto it. I can free retreat. Of course, they can knock that out as well, but at least I'm not losing a bunch of Pokemon, or a bunch of prizes in that process. Another Poison Barb. They're being very careful. And the knockout is made. 2 prizes taken from my opponent. Unfortunately, we lose our first Espeon-GX. But that one put in a lot of good work as it was. So we're going to try the Royal Flash. It does fail, unfortunately. We're going to throw the Float Stone here. I think my only real best bet is to Judge. Yeah, he knows. I don't want to play the Shrine of Memories. I saw they have Delinquent. I don't want to lose cards. I'm going to play the Judge. Come on, give me something good. Give them something not so good. Double colorless, I will take. And I believe next turn, as long as I don't take out the Espeon-GX, I have the win. And here's why. I've got Lysandre in the discard pile. Once they Creepshow knock out the Slowking, I can bring up the active, or bring the new Espeon-GX up. I can Lysandre, or Versus Seeker for Lysandre. I can bring up this, well, this one here, and do some massive damage. Don't play your own Lysandre. I don't think you used one yet anyway. But you have your Versus Seeker back. You could also see free retreat into the Mega Alakazam, which would be a knockout on Slowking. But I believe, as I said, this wins us the game. What happened to Slowking? You see that? Went flying all over the place. Alright, Versus Seeker. Let's grab ourselves Lysandre. There you are, good buddy. You're coming in. We're bringing that Mega Alakazam active. We're going for the Psychic knockout. With a bit of a close game and a bit of a freeze mid-game, we get the win with Espeon-GX using Psychic. We get Poison too, though. But, regardless, that is a win for Espeon-GX using the Psychic Royal Flash of Slowking. Very cool, interesting match. I was kind of concerned the moment I saw the EXs on the opposing side, but we pulled through quite nicely. And during that whole match, I'm not sure, you might have seen my cat roaming around in the background once again. Downside to the way my computer is right now, the processor's not amazing. I can't record the videos while seeing my own webcam, so I have no clue what's happening behind me. Could be a cat running around, could be some sort of a zombie coming up to bite my neck. That's more vampires, I suppose, but anyway, I have no clue what's going on back here. You might have seen a cat. If you didn't, ignore all this rambling. But that is going to be a wrap for this week's Pokemon TCG live online match, showing the power of the psychic power of Espeon-GX, maneuvering the opponent's energy around using the Royal Flash of Slowking. Admittedly, the deck didn't work as well as I was hoping to, but I mean, I still won, I suppose, but I was hoping to be able to show off a little bit more, like more Slowking on the bench. And I guess the downside was when I started powering up that Hoopa-EX. I wasn't kind of considering, hey, that can actually hit me. I don't see Hoopa-EX as a threat. It's more there just for the ability. But it actually came through for the opponent at one point. But that is, as I say, a wrap. So if you like this video, feel free to drop a like down below. And leave a comment if you have any ideas for how to make this a bit more consistent and coherent for people. Stuff that can make it more, like I said, I can replace some of these draw supports with just a bunch of N, maybe. I could even take something out, put Sycamore in instead. I was just concerned losing so much good stuff like the double colorless. You know, I kind of need that, and I didn't have any way to bring it back in this deck. But any suggestions you have to make this a little bit more consistent for folks out there that want to try to recreate the power of the Royal Flash plus Psychic, your comments could help them out for their own online battles as well. But with that, that is a wrap for this week's video. I'm now going to take a look at the other Pokémon-GX that we have not seen yet. We still got a few weeks before the pre-release at the Heroes Beacon Pokemon League that I'll be recording at. So we got some more time to check out these Pokémon-GX. I've got Gumshoos-GX we have not used yet. Lapras-GX still needs a better chance to shine. We haven't used Lurantis-GX, and what else have we not used? Tauros-GX we haven't used yet, although we've seen it in action at the League Cup video that was up a couple weeks back, I think it is. Tauros-GX. It's pretty scary to want to touch this thing. It hits back pretty... Look how shiny the horns are. I didn't even look at this card yet. I like that. I might want to use that for next week, but we'll see. Anyway, if you have any Pokemon-GX that you want to see for next week, leave a comment down below, and whoever has the most interest in them, I'll make a deck featuring that Pokemon, and it might happen to be the deck that I use in next week's videos, which I'll be recording on Sunday for viewer battles, but if not, I'll be doing some standard battles using some of my favorite decks that I've used along the way and upload those throughout the week. But I do want to have a featured video using a new GX for next week as well. So I'll see how I want to play it. I might do the GX as the viewer battle. We'll see what happens. But as I say, with that, we are now done. I want to say once again, thanks for watching today's Pokemon TCG live online match. If you want to see some other matches that I've done, there's a link in the description to an entire playlist back to the very first episode where I didn't have direct capture. I just had my phone recording my monitor. Everyone starts from somewhere, though, right? And I showed off one of my favorite decks, I think in the first video, using Victory Bell and Dragalge. Couldn't even remember the name. Victory Bell and Dragalge using their abilities in conjunction with one another. But if you want to see some older videos, there's a link down there. But if you want to see some more recent videos, there's some links in the outro to some of those videos, plus a link to subscribe to the channel if you're not currently subscribed. With all that, as I say many times, we are done. Professor Chaz is now signing off. Thank you once again for watching the power of Espeon-GX combined with Slowking. And until next time, Professor Chaz is signing off. I will catch you that next time.